Episode 50 of Football Manager 2015 with Everton. Of course, due to the sacking from Aston Villa, we have found ourselves at Everton. The last episode was the first proper episode, and I introduced the squad and everything, so I recommend, if you missed it, do check it out, because then you'll be at a bit of a loss with the players on show. And there's a little bit to talk about in this episode. I suppose since last time. So last time was our first game in charge, which we managed to beat Stoke 2-0 in the FA Cup third round. Puente scored twice. Since then, it's been topsy-turvy. That's the only way to really describe it. The squad is disappointing, I think. We did make a few transfers, though. I don't think anybody... Yeah, no, actually, there was one guy went out. It was Federico Fernandez for 525k. He wasn't liking England anymore. He was getting a little bit homesick, wants to go home to Argentina, and yet has decided to go to Russia. Now, that's just stupid. You might get killed in Russia. But, yeah, 525k, it was his value. I offered him out, and they took the bait. Also, Luke Castagnos, we couldn't get rid of him, so Cordoba had to come in on loan. I think they're paying around 50% of his wages, which isn't too bad. Hopefully we'll be able to sell him, though, in the summer, because I really don't fancy him. On the ins, one guy, you'll know him well. I know him well through Aston Villa days. Manfred Gutze for 450k for Aston Villa. That's an absolute steal for this guy. I always planned at some stage of using him at Villa, but he just never really got a look in. Like, he's a superb player, really, for his age. 21-year-old Austrian under-20s international. We bought him for 500k at Villa. He was beginning to get a little more of a look in, but we brought him in and he's done really well so far. 4 games, 7.22 rating, average rating, with a player of the match already to his name. Only on 17 grand a week, and yeah, I'm in his favourite personnel, so we've got a good working relationship going, and that's really positive signs. And I did want to bring something from Villa to kind of cling with me, I suppose. And the second one was Jacob Murphy on a loan deal till the end of the season. Now, this guy was wrapped up on deadline day, actually, so he hasn't played a game for us yet. He's had a pretty decent career he's made for himself. He moved to Blackburn for 1.5 million from Norwich, but then made a big 9.25 million move to Man City, where he got a little bit of a look in first season, but second season didn't really. And we've managed to snap him up on loan. He's just going to give us a versatility. He's a good player as well, but he can play all across the attacking midfield and can play up front. And you'll find out in a bit that we're struggling wingers-wise because of injuries, and also because a few of them aren't playing very well. So I'm quite excited to have this guy in, a bit of an explosive prospect. Just before I do anything... No, actually, we'll get into the fixtures now, and then I'll show you guys something. But that was the last episode, the 2-0 win over Stoke with Aaron Puente scoring 2 brilliant goals, 2 superb goals. Since then, we've had 5 games, of which we've won 2, drawn 1, and lost 2. And that's kind of summed up the inconsistencies of the team. Our first league game was at home to Fulham, and we managed to win this game 3-2. Which we made it a lot harder for ourselves than we probably needed to. Isaiah Brown did score a hat-trick in this game, goals in the 8th, 26th and 61st minute, giving us a 3-0 lead. Then Marcus Lopez in the 84th minute and Igor Vettelkelly in the 88th minute made it a little bit squeaky bum for the last few minutes, but we really deserved to win, and we made it a lot harder for ourselves with those late goals. But other than that, it was a fairly pristine performance. Aaron Puente, though, did pick up an injury in this one, and that's the start of his 3 to 4 month injury. It was a torn calf muscle. He's already experienced 3 weeks of it, but he's still got another 2 to 3 months to go, which is really disappointing because he looked a really promising youngster within our ranks. Next of all, we travelled to the Valley, where we lost 1-0 away at Charlton, and this was an absolute killer. Jordan Cousins getting the only goal of the game in the 91st minute, and it was completely against the run of play as well. As you can see, we really dominated the game. We just couldn't put a chance away this time round. Isaiah Brown, just on the back of scoring a hat-trick, he couldn't buy a goal in this game. We missed several opportunities, 2 clear-cut chances, but just overall dominating, and we just couldn't put it away. And Jordan Cousins snuck it from us in the 91st minute, which was disappointing because we deserved at least a point from it. We then though got handed a fairly simple tie at home to Fleetwood in the FA Cup 4th round, which I accepted pretty gracefully, and it finished 3-1 to ourselves. Now this was actually a little bit flattering on Fleetwood because they weren't very good at all. As you can see, only 31% of the ball. They got 4 shots, 2 on target, but they did manage to score through Johnny Harper. But Vardstat Harian, Kwado Asamoah with his first goal for the club, and Isaiah Brown also on the score sheet in injury time gave us a 3-1 win with a fairly rotated team, so I was quite happy with that. We're through to the FA Cup 5th round, but unfortunately they've pitted us against Manchester City away from home, which is just an absolute stinker. Which pretty much means that we're going to be exiting the FA Cup at the 5th round. Next tie we played was at home to Arsenal, and this was another killer because we drew 2-2. But Isaiah Brown had put us 2-0 up through a brace from himself in the first half. 1 goal in the 9th and 1 in the 39th minute. Josh Murphy did pull one back immediately in the 40th minute, and Aaron Ramsey equalised in the 72nd. But as you can see, again looking at the match stats, we had the better of the game, but we didn't really take our chances as much as we should have. You know, we hit the woodwork twice, which is always unfortunate. 3 clear-cut chances, 55% of the ball, but we just couldn't actually kill the game off, which was disappointing because a win was there for the taking, I felt. And lastly, another really disappointing result, a 1-0 defeat away at Swansea. Gylfi Sigurdsson with the only goal of the game on the stroke of half-time. This was a very even game, and really probably should have been a draw, but they just had that one chance, or they had that chance just on the stroke of half-time, which Sigurdsson managed to take. As you can see, there was 5 clear-cut chances throughout the game for either, 5 clear-cut chances overall. Only one of them was taken, which probably showed you the poor finishing throughout, but a disappointing result nonetheless. And I'm slightly concerned that we are struggling for a goal or two apart from Isaiah Brown. Like, since we've arrived, Puente scored a brace in our first game, but he's now injured. But we scored 3 all Isaiah Brown. 2 defenders scored in this and Isaiah Brown, and then the other 2 were Isaiah Brown. So we've scored, since last time, we have scored 8 goals in 5 games, of which 6 have been from Brown, and the other 2 were from a left back and 1 from a centre back. So none of our other attacking players quite doing the business yet. We've got Spurs today at home, which is always a tough game, but Spurs are in 15th, which is actually lower than us. As we look at the league table now, we are in 14th still, but if we win today, we will rise to 13th. We're at 28 points, so we're only actually 7 points away from 8th. I think European football is really out the window, and we've still got to try and just make sure we don't get relegated or anything, or get dragged into that relegation battle. Because Fulham are only on 22 points, and they're the last relegation side. So it's only 6 points within that, so that's going to be extremely tough. But as you can see, we scored 30 goals, which isn't too bad. Well, it's actually, looking at that, it's fairly bad, isn't it? It's a joint 4th worst. And a decent defence, though. Probably, I think it's the 6th best defence in the league, which is actually quite pleasing to see. Unfortunately, I'm getting a little bit of bad luck here because of the AC Milan series as well as it's going. We're not scoring many goals whatsoever in that either. So I seem to have a little bit of a habit at the moment of picking or of going to clubs, and we just don't seem to be scoring really that many goals. If we have a look at some team stats, though, I always like to look at these every now and then. Average attendance wise, we've got the 9th biggest attendance. By capacity, 12th though, because we're only filling out the stadium 88%, which isn't great. Bournemouth 100%, but they've only got a 12,000 stadium. Average possession wise, we are 8th, just over 50%. Now we were 12th, I think, when I took over, so that's increased rapidly. And the other one I'd just like to look at is salary per annum, which we are 9th, which isn't actually too bad. We're not spending that much. Like we're spending 61 million per year, which is a lot of money, but compared to Man City's 207 million per year, it doesn't seem too bad. And also we'll just have a look at the net transfer spend, because these guys did spend a fair bit in the summer, but it's only 4 million overall, which isn't too bad. Again, Man City spent 91 million. They've had a net transfer spend of, which is quite ludicrous. I'm just going to show you one thing. I'm not going to dwell on Villa too much, or I'm going to try not to dwell on Villa too much. But what has Gary Bowyer done? Okay, so he's brought in the January transfer window, he brought in Markovic and Gabriel Silva, which I think are 2 proper players, so that's grand. You can get away with that. They sold Manfred Götze, so from their point of view I can see probably why they sold him, but not for that cheap. But they sold Bonazzoli for 22 million. And I'll show you Bonazzoli this year had scored 20 league goals in 24 league games. And they sold him only for 22 million. I probably wouldn't have sold him for double that price. That is a ludicrous deal. And he was on deadline day as well. And I just saw it, I was going, oh my god, what the hell have you done? But nonetheless, a pretty shocking bit of business, I think, from Gary Bowyer there. But we won't dwell on it too much, because we are now at Everton. Again, still the finance is not good. 17 million in the red. We're predicted not to lose any more money, so let's hope that is the case. We didn't spend bucket loads. Like Götze was only 450k, and the other was a loan deal. I suppose we should get into today's game. Now, firstly, we'll look at overall the player statistics. Yeah. Now, a lot of this still hasn't been like with me in charge, but Brown is now up to 15 goals. Lavage has got 6, Puente and Mick Ryan both on 3, and then we've got a fair few on 2. Top provider is Puente with 5, Bangura's also got 5, Lavage, Oliver and McCarthy have all got 4, and average rating wise, Guts is up there already, McCarthy, Brown, Harrian and Dessart. So the team we've gone for today is Blake in goal, back for Kolasinac, Götze, Harrian and Corchia, McCarthy and Besic, Laxalt, Oliver, Murphy and Brown up front. Oliver hasn't been great, considering he's really meant to be the focal point of all our attacks. He hasn't done it so far, and hopefully he can at some stage really blend into the role there. Matt Dance, who in the last episode I think we recalled from loan, he's been playing a few games and has done really well at left back. He's played 2 league games, 6.85 rating. That's not too shabby at all. He'll start on the bench today. He's only on $2,000 a week, so we'll probably give him a new contract to make sure he's tied down for a little longer. Like, he's contracted, I think, to the summer of 2024. We kept the other guy out on loan. I can't remember his name. Was it Finlay or something? So striker can also play behind the striker. We left him out on loan at Burnley for the rest of the season. So hopefully he can come back at the start of next season and do quite well. If we have a look at Spurs' team, it's quite a defensive formation. Of course, they're in a bit of trouble this year. It's 4-1-4-1. They've still got Ericsson. They've got Bruno Fernandes, Morata, Lamela and Bruma. I don't know this guy. Kirikez still there. Jejav, Jedvajian, Walker, and this Walton guy. I've not a clue. He is a real player. Where did I pick this guy up? 26 years old. Christian Walton. He starts the game at Brighton, but seems to be a backup at Brighton. He's a bit of an odd one. I don't think he's first choice. I think Larry is still there, so he should be first choice. So possibly we can try and capitalise on the fact that they've got their second choice keeper out. We've got nearly a full strength team, I'd say, today. This is pretty much what you'd go for. I think Puente is the only one missing, really. from your first team, I'd say. Because I would be playing him a lot because he seemed an excellent player. And of course, the first game I was in charge, he scored 2 absolute beauties, as you guys saw in the last episode. Like, they were really kind of stunning goals. But anyway, there's a little bit of pinball here going around the midfield, and a lot of misplaced passes from both teams. Nobody can really get a foot on it, but Broom has now picked it up on the left hand side. Swings it in. Morata, penalty. That is so stupid from Harry Am. That's a really bad tackle, a rash tackle. There was no need for it, and we're going to trail 1-0 here after only 6 minutes. And with the way we haven't been scoring, Bruno Fernandes steps up, puts it straight down the middle, and it's 1-0 Spurs. But with the way we kind of haven't been scoring, like, we really can't be conceding. We can't be conceding too many goals, but especially those kind of fairly, like a soft penalty like that is just not acceptable, really. As Lamela nearly went all the way. Good save in the end by Blake. And to be honest, even though we've dominated possession early on, Spurs look very threatening here. And Lamela Eriksson, oh Jesus Christ. Andre Blake has put it into his own goal, and we are already 2-0 up. Or 2-0 down. I wish we were 2-0 up. That is an absolute shocker. Corchia just runs it into Blake, who's obviously lying on the ground, and it deflects back into the goal. I'm going to go attacking, see if we can do anything, because we need to go attacking now, because we aren't creating anything. We've got 61. Lamela. Holy shit, Blake. How bad can you be? We're 3-0 down after only half an hour. We still haven't had a shot. We have had 61% of the ball. Like, what are we actually doing with the ball then? If we have 61% of it, and yet we haven't had a shot yet. And then you have that sort of keeping, which just really gets on my nerves. We're already 3-0 down. Like, this game is over. The game's barely started. It's already over though. Laxelt. Unless we can score a goal right now, this game is over. And that just sums it up. Besic with a poor pass. And here's Isaiah Brown. Can he do anything? No. He loses it. Corchia. Just keep the ball. Like, you wouldn't have thought from the highlights we've seen, Murphy's going to get... Oh, fuck off. That's the best you can produce. That is the best we can produce at the moment. Here's Brown again on a marching run. Laxalt. Brown, how have you missed? How have you missed? Oh, this is frustrating. This really is frustrating. It's been a little bit like this so far. Now, obviously we haven't conceded as many like so far, so we haven't conceded 3 goals in the first half yet. But like, in terms of attacking wise, this has kind of summed it up really. So we're going to make a few drastic changes here. We're going to bring on Lavaja on the left. See what he can do out there. See, Mick Ryan, though, he doesn't score any goals. That's the problem. Mick Ryan's only scored 1 goal this year in the league, so he's not. Lavaja is already picked up a knock a minute into the half. But you really are taking the piss now out of me game. The game is getting the better of me at the moment. Let's see if we can change anything around. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. More direct. Let's see if a more direct style works. Probably won't, but probably will get caught on the break here. Yeah, Bruma. I suppose we are on overload, so if we concede another penalty here, I swear to God. God, thank God for that. Like, I suppose if we're on overload, I can't complain too much if we get caught out, which we're going to. Bruma, it's a good block actually, from our right back. Who's our right back? Jedvaj should have probably scored there. Corchia there. It's Corchia with a good block. Here's Murphy. Can he spark anything? It's a fairly piss poor pass, and Isaiah Brown can't control it. Bruno Fernandes is broken through the middle. Fernandes all the way, and it's not far wide. It's just been complete and utter annihilation today. It's quite embarrassing to watch actually, as Mick Ryan's going to come on for Oliver behind the striker. So he's been pretty shit really, considering he's on paper the best player at the club. Well, according to the reports, and really according to his attributes, like he's the best player at the club, and yet he hasn't produced a thing. Like he hasn't scored a goal and he hasn't assisted a goal within the. This is going to be my 6th game in charge, I think. Morata there. It's a good save by Blake, who's really keeping us in this game, or keeping it respectable even. It's not respectable actually. It's already not respectable. So 3-0 down. It's just been a shocker all round. Like we had a few blunders from Blake in the first half. Of course, Corchia didn't help within the second goal. And there's a lot to work out here at Everton. This is going to be an extremely tough ask to make this team any good. Like it's still a little bit annoying, the Villa sacking, because we're really going to have to start again. Like where we kind of started off with Villa, it seems a bit like that. Everton have kind of crept into that sort of phase. But like a team that are actually, like I know it's Spurs, holy, come on. We're at home and we've produced this. But like I know they're Spurs, but you know, they are below us in the league table. Well, they're not anymore because they're going to go past us with this victory. But to lose so convincingly, and we've just been so poor. Like, we really have been. And it's kind of inexcusable stuff. You know, it says that we've had more of the ball, but actually in pretty much every highlight we've seen, we've given the ball away. So I don't know, you can't really look into that then, can you? But anyway, nonetheless, we've lost the game 3-0. I think it's a game to quickly forget, from my point of view. Only 1 shot on target in a home game. That's Villa in real life, that's what it is. Which is extremely disappointing. Anyway, when we'll be back for the Man City game. I'll see you guys then.